Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Access.
Do it live.
Wired Access.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to Wired Access Podcast, where I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. We took last week off. That way we could kind of show you some of the episodes, some highlights from those episodes that we have done already in this year 2, season 2. And also remember, the Omaha Supernovas play this Saturday. It is a road game, so go out to Omaha or Hurrdat Sports Bar in La Vista. They'll have a watch party for you as they take on the Columbus Fury. Remember, you can also get tickets for the semis and the championship that will be held at the CHI Center. All of those amazing pro volleyball athletes coming back to Omaha to see who can win the championship. Once again, support supernovas.com. To my left, I have father and son combo, Jeffrey Kunzman, and then Jeffrey Kunzman over here, who is going to Northern State to be a part of the Wolves.
Go Wolves.
And we've already had Ms. Bodas for softball, who's from Papio, who's also going to Northern. What I love about these colleges, especially around here, when they're starting to come down into Nebraska, they're seeing these kids' talent, giving them an opportunity to get to that next level. But, man, there's so much to even get up to the date where we are. And I see that you're a multi-sport athlete, so then decisions have to be made. Dad's a basketball freak. If you ask me, when it comes to the city of Bellevue, he was one putting teams on the map, but you chose football. Let's start back, man. What do you remember when you started sports, and where all did that all begin for you?
So I started off playing flag football originally. Obviously, that's the given. And then I played basketball. And then going into second grade, actually, I started playing tackle football on my older brother's team. And that was my first year tackle football. That was second grade, I believe. And then fourth grade, I was normally playing with Coach Kelly. And then fourth grade, my dad had started a team with some of the kids that played on our football team. And so then that's when that's like the original NRE. Like, people think the NRE started in seventh grade, but the original team had been playing together since we were all in fourth grade. And then so I played football from second grade all the way to sixth grade. And then in sixth grade, I got a concussion. In one of the practices, and I didn't play football at all during middle school.
Well, real quick, I mean, that's a major thing that parents always question. My son has played football since he could 6 years old. We took him to a program so he can learn how to do it properly. You could teach him all you want to teach him. These are real life things. What was that like with you and your family when he had his first concussion in sixth grade? Because I could tell you, my wife is one of those football concussions. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not easy.
Yeah, and it's not. When he got his concussion, I mean, my first thought was, you know, he's at a point where he could take a couple of years off. We can work on something else and just build his athleticism. So what we did was just transform that and just focus more on the basketball. So we can work more on footwork, agility, speed, and things of that nature. So the concussion part about it, you know, once it comes up, you don't want your kid taking that many hits. You know, and if they're taking him that young and you want his career to be a little bit longer than, you know, most is going to be, like, the injuries and things like that are going to come. But if you are able to take that time off and stay focused and stay training at what you want to do, you can always come back. But
this philosophy, though, like, where did this come from? How did this instill in you? Because most parents that are competitive think opposite. Mm-hmm. No, my kid's going to come back. He's going to come back stronger. He's going to be that guy. I'm going to put him in a scenario. I mean, I've known a couple kids where they didn't even get to play high school because they had more concussions at that younger age. And it sucks, because what could they have done had they really just concentrated what you spoke on?
And just think about that, you know, for a second, what you said. Like, so you can either take that time and so you can send them back when they're not ready, you know, just because you want them to get that highlight, or you want, you know, their team to win the championship. And you have to be able to put that stuff to the side, you know, humble yourself a little bit, just get back into what's going to actually make the player, you know, and that's going to be the training. the developments and other sports, being a multi-sport athlete, things of that nature, you can fall back on other things that aren't going to create those same injuries. Where basketball, you won't see that they're going to create that many concussion injuries, things of that nature. But at the same time, he can still work on being an athlete.
What do you remember about that time, Jeffrey? Even having to give up a game that you started to really grow into who you were, what do you remember about that time?
So I remember so I got injured and then I went to watch the last game, and after we left the last game, I kind of was talking to my mom. I was like, I don't think I want to play football anymore. And it wasn't like I had because if I'm being honest, basketball was always my first love. I always loved basketball. Basketball is always fun. Even to this day, I watch football obviously, but I watch more basketball than I watch anything. And I just love the game. I love how it's played, the way it's evolving. I just loved it. So then I was I just want to stick to basketball. And then but everyone always tell me you're just too big. You're too big to not play football, bro. You're too muscular. Da, 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 da. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it again freshman year. Freshman year, I tried it, and I came back and I was lost because I didn't know what position I wanted to play, because I played running back from 2nd grade to 6th grade. And so
real quick before we get to that part, what do you remember of 7th and 8th? What did you fill that time with? That's the biggest thing, I think, for someone that might be out of the game for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What could you fill your time with to satisfy what you're looking for in sports?
Kind of like what my dad was talking about. You got to find. It's it's a humbling experience, to be honest. I had a big ego, but 7th and 8th grade, I started playing with really good basketball players, some really big names in Nebraska high school sports. And so it's just it was a humbling experience, and it kind of brought out my work ethic. It made me want to work that much more harder because I'm competing with the best basketball players in the state of Nebraska. So it's just that time period from 7th to 8th grade, I think, set me up for the mentality that I had throughout my high school career.
And those are things that are hard to notice until you sit in this moment and be able to look back and go, the aha happened.
Yeah, for sure.
And people only wish they had it happen. Some people don't get it till their 30s, 40s. You get a experience in middle school. You go off to your freshman year trying to redevelop who you are and what position. Size matters, but it doesn't mean that it's the end of the road of whatever you want to do if you push yourself. What were you going through freshman year?
So freshman year, so this is gonna sound so crazy, but you just gotta stick with me and believe it. So going into my freshman year, I was 5'4.5", and I weighed 150 pounds, and I wanted to play middle linebacker. And none of my coaches believed that I could play, so they tried to make me play offensive line and defensive line. I was like, I want to play linebacker. I don't want to play on the line. And so we did hitting drills one day, and I hit one of our best quarterbacks at the time, and I laid him out. And they're like, yeah, you're playing linebacker. But then sophomore year, I grew a couple inches, and I moved to defensive end. And then that season went by, and I had an okay season. And then my junior year came by, and I grew 2 more inches. And that's when Coach P came up to me one day in the hallway, and he was he kind of got on me. He was like, I need you to start focusing on football, because I cared about football, but I didn't really care enough. So he just got on me, telling me to start caring, and then that's when the transition from trying to play linebacker and defensive end switched to offensive line.
And if you think of your time with him going through this process, obviously it's not just him. You have other kids you have to kind of align and where they want to be. What do you remember about him wanting to play and being able to explain to him, you got to see wherever you get placed more than it is, this is what I want?
I'm one of those dads that you get what you earn, and nothing's given to you. When the coach asks you to be the punter, you can kick. Go do that, because I'm one of the people that, if you want to play defense, offense, you don't know what that path is going to lead for to you. You play whatever position they give you, and then when they give you the opportunity, like you said, I get out there and I show, and those are just the things that I think, it's just those work ethic and being willing to adjust. In sports, that's one of the most important things, is being willing to adjust from one thing to the other. And I just think him having that open mind, because he, like I said, he never really batted an eye at. He just wanted to play and get out there and just show him what he can do, whether it's on offensive side or defensive side of the ball. And, through God's grace, that these are things that happen for him.
There's a couple of people that come to mind when I think of, if you ask me in 8th grade what they're going to do at the next level in college, basketball's the thing. We've already had a rope on just a couple episodes ago. Basketball family, 150%. Yeah. Didn't even get a look for scholarships on basketball. Doesn't make sense. You have Jones out at Papio South, Devin. We had him on as our first episode with Hurrdat. Goes off to Shattern State for football. Unfortunately, runs 99 yards in a game and hurts his ankle, so now he's recouping.
Mhm.
But these are kids, if you ask me, just like he even said, basketball 8th grade, but now they got college for football. What does that talk about, the opportunities or just even the vision that they could change into that?
I think with basketball players, especially when they have that vision, like you said with him and Jacob, they kind of got the same story where they get to go work on those things like footwork, and so they have that upper edge. And then even when you talk about the game from those basketball players transitioning into football players, I think what ends up happening is that their athleticism will take over. And if you look at even the football game, I think there's more opportunities to go to the next level because of the roster spots. I mean, just look at the roster spots. I mean, there's every school has a school, and then they have 15, 20 basketball spots. Well, then the football team has 85 spots. So just like I said, they have a more vast availability of spots, whereas basketball won't have that. So like you have to have a certain build for basketball in order to make it to the next level. Like you can be as good as you need to be, like you said, because there's guys who are amazing who aren't even getting looks. And I sit back sometimes, I'm like, man, that guy doesn't have a look.
Not even a sniff, you know?
Because there's some guys who can really play, at that level. But you're starting to see a lot of those guys starting to transition and starting to do the double sports. Like I remember, like Davon Hall, like that dude was an amazing basketball player in 8th grade. Like dude would jump out the gym. But then you start watching transition to football, and you're like, oh no, this dude's a football player. And even with him at first, I was one of those where I wanted him to play basketball. But when I started seeing the results that he was getting on the football field, they were definitely going to outweigh what he would have got on the basketball court. And I just think him making that decision early to make that transition and put, 150% into that decision, I think sometimes it's the best thing. And as a parent, I think you just sit back and you listen to the decisions that they want to make first, talk through them, then make a decision as a unit. I think that's something that's just super important for us and our family. But it all starts with the athlete. So
what do you remember about the recruiting process? What was the first offer? When was it? What was your even thoughts? Were you expecting something sooner? What was kind of that route for you?
So the recruiting process is actually like, I guess the most fun thing for like when you get the first offer or like you get the first text from a coach. Like I remember the first coach who ever texted me was Coach Scott from Minnesota State Moorhead. And he texted me and I called my whole entire family line. Like I told everybody, I was like, oh, I'm about to get offers. I was so excited. And then he sent me a junior day invite and I posted it. And then like after I posted it for the next week, I think I counted like 27 coaches had texted me throughout that week. So the week was just like insane. But I love the recruiting process for sure. Doan was actually my first offer, and it was at the beginning of the summer. It was like 2 weeks in the summer. Doan offered me. And then after Doan offered me, I started to see like a lot of college coaches texting me. And it was a hard decision, but I kind of knew who like my top 6 to 10 schools were from the get-go, because like some schools would just like send you a long paragraph with a link at the end so you could fill out this questionnaire. But to where some coaches like Coach Glasgow from Northern State, he actually had texted me on Twitter and asked for my phone number and then texted me on my phone number, and me and him just conversed that way. And I when he did that, I was like, he wants me a little bit more than these other coaches that are just texting me on Twitter want me. And so that's when I started to realize I was like, Northern State's an option. And then I went and visited and I seen the campus and I was like, Northern State's really an option. And then like the coaches are just so transparent over there, and they just keep it 100 all the time. They don't lie to you. Everything's straight up. It's honest. So Northern State was always at the top of my mountain. So then when they threw the offer, I was like, I want to commit here. Like that's where I'm going.
And when you talk about this, how many visits did you do up until this point? Do you remember?
I think I went on 3. I only went on 3 visits actually.
Okay.
About it.
So it's weird because people don't understand. We say it all the time. You'll know when it's home.
For sure.
Talk about just that feeling of saying this is home. What was that going through your mind? What was the one couple things that you just made you go, I can live here and make my next level career here?
So actually my moment was me and my mom. So the junior day, or actually it was a game day because my junior day got canceled. So game day visit, we pull up at 11, like 11:13, and we were supposed to be there at 11. And I called Coach Glasgow and I was like, Coach, I'm running a little bit late. Like, I still good and stuff like that. He was like, yeah, we're waiting downstairs for you. He's like, don't worry, we're not gonna start the visit until you get here. And then when he said that, I was kind of like, I like where this is going. And then we get in there and Coach Irie walks up to all the players and he's like ecstatic. Like he's like yelling. He's like, let's go. Da, 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 da. So excited to have you guys. And then Coach Schmidt walks in and he doesn't. And this is like, when it comes to the recruiting process, my parents matter more than anything. You got to get my parents before you get me. Like any school could have got me. But when Northern State, Coach Schmidt walked up to my mom and introduced himself to my mom before he even introduced himself to me, I was like, this is a spot. This is the spot for sure, because I know that they got the best interest for me and my family, not just me.
That's that moment, man. That's that real deal right there. Jeff, talk about your experience as a father, because you're a coach. You have a lot of kids that are like your kids. You want them to get to the next level, but now you got to do it as a father in a sport where you got to really kind of step back and not go, I can use all these connections that I got. And I'm not saying you don't have football connections, because we both got connections. But it's a little more of the journey of his. What was that like for as a father going through that process?
You got to trust the process. Trust the process every time. And like he was saying, you find a home where the coaches, like you said, I am a coach. So I know what good coaches are going to be like. I know the things they're going to discuss and they're going to talk about with the player. And like I said, like he said, just finding that the best interest of things that are just like him, So I take a step back when it comes to the football, and you'll see me, like, if you ever see me coach a basketball game, you're like, this dude is insane. Dude is all up and down the court. When you see me at his football game, I'm the most quietest parent that's in the stand, because you
got to be lying. He lying to me, right? Because I didn't know. I known him for a while, and I ain't ever seen this dude shy away from if a call was not a call. He's able to be quiet on the backside.
No, for sure. on the football, when it comes to the football, he kind of just sits back and he just watches like what I'm doing, make sure I'm doing my thing, and then he just watches TJ, my cousin, and he makes sure he's doing this thing. It's my mom that when it comes to the football, my mom, my aunt, my grandma, they're all yelling, all of them.
I'm going to, my thing is I understand what the crowd can do when a coach is trying to do his thing. So I'm just going to trust the coaches, and and as long as he's okay with it, I have to trust it too. And like you said, the biggest thing for me is I'm watching the scheme, but I'm really watching what he's doing and trying to work on him with his technique. Because we talk every time. He's like, this is what I'm working on. And when it's game day, these are things I want to see. So
I like that he brought that up. How did this going into football change your ride homes with dad? Dead serious, because it's hard. When you are a coach and you're like, I'm telling you what a coach is looking for right now. That's the only reason I'm hard on you, is because I'm telling you what your coach is looking for you to play or not to play. How did that change from when he was coach to being able to be dad for football?
So that brings up like a good example. So when we were just talking about this the other day too. I think we were 7th grade. This was like going into our 7th grade season for basketball. We were at practice one day and we were doing like this warm-up drill, and so anybody that played for NRE or Beast, they know that we should start off with the front man, back man, front drill. So like the front man runs a lap, and then the person in the back comes and takes the front, and you do it until the whole team gets around. So we started off with that, and then we started doing this. I forgot what I think it was UCLA. I don't know. We were doing something, and I was like, "This is stupid." Like I was jogging it. He kicked me out of practice, and he's like, "Walk home." And I actually started walking home. So if that like gives you an idea of what those practices used to be like after, or like the games, like it used to be rough. But then now when it came to football, it was more so he wasn't like on me if whether or not I played good or bad. He'd ask me how I felt or how I played, and then he'd say why. Like he didn't want me to be like, yeah, I played good, and that was the end of it. He wanted to hear what I did good and what I can do to be better next game, what I did wrong. Like he wanted to hear the entire scheme so I could break it down to him so he could understand where I'm coming from as a player in that game.
What do you think was his biggest gain his senior year?
His biggest gain? I would say his leadership. Like you just started seeing that you just start seeing the coach's son thing come out, and like he come home and, us as parents, like you said, we're rowdy family. Like we're all into the sports, and if you had like one of us was like, well, one of your teammates, we might have not played good. Jeffrey come and be like, no, listen, like seriously, like every time he'd be like, no, this is what he'd tell you 15 things that guy did good today. And he'd tell you 15 things that he did wrong that day. So it's like, you're going to talk about that, talk about me too. And just seeing that type of maturity come up, because, my older son, he went to Midlands. He got a scholarship to Midlands, and even when he went to school, like I had that concern of like, I want him to stay close. Like I don't want him to go far, right? But with Jeffrey, when he starts showing his maturity, and just the things that he does as a son, as a big brother, as a teammate, even if you're training with this guy, like even if his old NRE teammates will all tell you the same, they love him. They still talk to him, and it's just when he started getting that maturity, even I knew at that point, it's like this kid's ready to go explore this world, and he can go to school far, and he's going to be okay just because of the mentality he has. So just him coming into being that leader his senior year, and just becoming that young man that's turning into a man. Like for a father, like that just brings me joy, So
it's those things that turn it around. Obviously, your basketball route changes. AAU kind of goes away, right, for you?
Yeah.
What all do you remember and miss from just that part of it? Especially because your dad's still in it. It isn't like he walked away.
Yeah. So I'd say and you can ask anybody that's played or plays basketball. The best part of AAU basketball is just like being in the hotel with your teammates, like going around the hotel, ding dong ditching people, staying up all night on the game, like the hotel breakfast, like everything, like that whole experience of AAU. It's an experience you can't experience that anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough making that decision, but like even the last person I played AAU basketball with, Coach Mo, he was like telling me on my last season, he was like, football's your route. He was like, I'm not upset that you're quitting. Like, he was like, I understand. Because he just knew that, like, yes, I was a good basketball player and I had the intangibles and the potential to take it if I really wanted to, but he just knew like football was my thing. Like it was my thing.
How do you have to change your summers? Because of course he's obviously trying to go camps, visits. How did that change? Because AAU, that's your prime time.
Mm-hmm.
That's your I'm on the road time. I'm taking kids to see places they ain't seen before. How did you arrange all your summer and stuff like that?
We have a very supportive family. If I can't do it because I'm busy with my teams or my organization, his mom, she's there. If not, his aunt is there. His grandpa will be there. I'm talking that like just down the list. So our family is just above awesome, when it comes to supporting these kids. And that goes for him, my nephew, my younger, any of them, just very supportive, very loving. I mean, you'll see them all out in Northern State. We're all going to take that 5-hour drive every time it's necessary, and it's just the love that we all have for each other, So I just think that's just one thing that's important. So that's just how we made it happen, and we never miss a beat. And like you said, whether it's mom, dad, we're going to make sure the trip is going to be something that's going to be good for him because it's about these kids. We've already lived our prime.
We done did what we needed.
It's time for them.
Jeffrey, what do you remember of your summer going into senior year? What's your biggest growth? Was there a camp that really stuck out to you that was like, this is where I learned probably the most and got the most out of it?
So no, my biggest learning moment of this summer was team camp, because we had team camp. So our team camp at Bell West, it goes team camp, and then we get a week off and then team camp. So then we had this first week of team camp, and I had got mono, and I wanted to practice. Like I suited up and everything, like I was ready. But my mom had texted Coach P and was like, "I don't want him to practice," and I was like, "Coach P, I'm practicing." Like I was going against it. So I was
Mama
like,
bear.
And Huffman just like, he was like, he was like, you're trying to feel the moment so you can get like a competitive feeling out of this practice. But he was like, this is a growing moment for you. He was like, now you're gonna have to sit back and watch your teammates do something, and you can't do anything at all to help them. He was like, all you can do is lead them and let them do what they do. So it was like, so that moment, watching my teammates play without me, and they had an amazing week. They had a good week that week. And like just watching them play without me was just like, wow, like this is tough. So I think that really got me over like the full hump of just being a complete leader. So like that week, I'd say probably helped me the most. That was probably my biggest maturity moment.
You guys go into the season, you guys are one of the top teams.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries is what happens in the game.
For sure.
How does that mentally change the aspect of your team all the way to the end? Because everybody wants to talk stuff, but I think you guys might have played a handful of quarters with everybody healthy.
Yeah, for sure. So our thing with the injuries was it kind of like broke our team chemistry. It definitely broke our team chemistry a little bit. It was tough without, we go this whole summer, we have Isaiah McMorris, dude's coming off 1,300 receiving yards. We got Davon Hall. He's coming off nearly 1,000 receiving yards. And so just not having Isaiah there, I think kind of like, since we were so used to having him and him playing at the level that he was playing at, not having him there, it kind of broke our team chemistry, and it was like, well, what do we do now? And then you can kind of see throughout the first couple weeks of the season, we struggled on the offensive end because everyone was just kind of like, well, Davon, but not realizing that Ben Goodwater's a player. TJ Whaley's a player. You know what I'm saying? We got dudes in these positions. Jermaine Green, like we have dudes in these positions that can play as well. So then, like, I think our turning point was the Kearney game. Even though we did end up losing that game, we had Will Anderson playing wide receiver, and he's a quarterback. You know, so moments like that, I think, is definitely what helped flip our switch during the middle of the season and improved helping our offense play at the ability it should have been playing at all season.
I like that you bring up people going to positions they're not used to.
Mhm.
That's a dedication you can't explain. Jeff, when you look at what goes on in the recruiting realm and your son is around, obviously you got Danny Dimes who goes to Missouri, goes off Missouri. How do you have these talks with kids their age to understand what's going on with maybe their own teammate or maybe even a process he might go through next year? Transfer portal's real. There's so much fast moving parts when it comes to this day and age in college. How do you go about talking with these kids about it?
Being honest. And I think that is the most important thing, because every kid has I want to go D1 or I want to go do this. And, you know, with the world we're living in with transfer portal, the transfer portal is the new seniors in high school, you know, so those guys are going to get the first looks. And I just think just being honest with the kids, like where they're at right now and like where they want to go, and then setting up an actual plan, you know, that's actually going to be something that can be obtainable to them, you know, instead of just sending them on this path where it's this or bust. You know, you have to kind of be honest with them and just let them know that, hey, man, there's D1, D2, D3, there's NAIA. Like there's if you want to play football or you want to play basketball, there's something for you if you just want to stay dedicated to it and committed to the process. But if you're committed to just D1
or the name,
then what ends up happening is we lose your name.
Yeah.
You know, and it's somebody else who's been grinding and been told honest things in their ear. Guess who's going to get that call? They are.
I like that you brought that up.
You know,
you're seeing someone like a Will Kyle out of your school.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he played under Frankie and Chucky, which is a hard combo to play under.
Sure.
Didn't get a lot of publicity. We had him on this show. He's been one of our favorite guests that we had. You see his production go off to South Dakota State, reputable school. Gets done with 2 years. Now his opportunities are through the roof. How does that drive your college and your fellow students to understand that you're not stuck if you didn't get to where you thought you were supposed to be?
I just want first to shout out. Good job, Will. Proud of you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Good job on UCLA. But I think it's like it definitely has an effect because it's like Will Kyle didn't start playing basketball till he was in 9th grade, and he had no idea how to dribble a basketball as a 9th grader. He went from not dribbling a ball 6 years ago, and now he's about to go play at one of the best teams in the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you see that and you're like, and Will's the most humble kid I've ever talked to in my life. Like we were just with Will like a week and a half ago. He's still the same person he was when we were 8 years old. So seeing him do that, it kind of like it touched me. It's like if he can do that, I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? Like he just kept his head down. He grinded. Like the work will always show. You can sit here and talk about, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'm about to go here, I'm about to go. Stop talking. Show me some. Show me that you're gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like put the work in. I feel like you can do anything you want to do.
I like that phrase.
Right.
You look at what Danny Kalen, I see you always saying my number one QB.
Yep, my QB.
How does that go for you as a lineman who has protected him for this long to look and go, he's going through waves. Social media is throwing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How do you wrap yourself around that part of it? Because keyboard warriors are a thing. I already called out the one that tried to call out Jacob Arope because he got his 4th star and he tagged him in a post. And I'm like, how are you going to tag an 18-year-old? He didn't give it to himself. Someone else did. Tag that person.
For sure.
How do you wrap yourself? Because that I could tell you right now, there is a lot of clout. There's a lot of volume when it comes to the kids at your team.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. The Jacob thing was like you're attacking the 18-year-old kid, and Jacob. And the thing with Jacob is like Jacob's a nice shooter. He wasn't on Twitter talking about, oh, I'm a 4-star. Who else? Like he wasn't doing. He wasn't out here talking. No, but he was just like, I'm blessed to be a 4-star. You know what I'm saying? But the thing with Danny, there's a lot going on, you know what I'm saying? Him and Dylan competing back and forth. But I don't think the Nebraska fan base should knock Danny at all, because if I'm being 110% honest, if you want to hear from my point of view, I think Danny has a chance to beat out Dylan Royola, and I'm going to be 100% honest. Danny's the most, when it comes to work, when it comes to head down and just work, he's the definition. Like, he doesn't talk about anybody. He brings his teammates up. He uplifts you. Like, Danny's part of the reason that I wanted to play offensive line. Like, we had a class together on the second semester, my sophomore year. And I was late to class for like 3 days straight. And Danny, like, I'm not even joking, he literally like kind of cussed me out. He was like, "What are you doing? Like, I need you." Like, he makes his teammates that much better. Like, he was like, "I need you. Like, you have potential," stuff like that. And I'm like, I love this dude, bro. Like, I'm gonna put everything on the field for this dude. And so at Nebraska, that's my QB1 for sure. I think Nebraska should definitely give him a shot and not shy away just because there's a 5-star in front of him.
When you think of everything that you've gone through, what's some things that you hope people understand that some people call it a sacrifice, but you call it a dedication to what you were trying for? Is there anything that you wish you could have done, wish you would have, but you know that you were doing the right thing, whether it's doing the extra practices, missing this dance, missing that get together? I think sometimes I always like to have kids that have made that next level decision to explain to people how the mind changes of what you want to do and what you need to do.
I mean, so it's like when you are truly, so there's like intermediate group of people, athletes, who are like, "Oh, I want to be an athlete, but I want to go to this party." But like, if you truly want to be an athlete, you're gonna be like, "There'll be another party next weekend. I'm about to go work out." Or you'll be like you just don't. There's no such thing as, "Oh, I wish I could have," because you know that you went to the gym that day and you got 1% better, while your competition went to that party and he got 1% worse. You know what I'm saying? So as an athlete, if you are truly committed, I feel as though there is no such thing as what if or should I or can I. It's just you do and you don't. There's no in between.
Jeff, what do you remember when this thing clicked for him? Because as a father, we're always waiting for that moment. When did you remember that going for your son to go, "All right, man, he might put down the sticks a little extra tonight because he needed that sleep," or something of that rather?
That's a good one. I would say it was definitely his junior year. I would say it was his junior year once he started getting some action and he started seeing what he was actually capable of doing, when given the spotlight. And like you said, like, all the talking had to stop. Like, I got to go show now. I got to go prove, and I got to do. And he knows, like, you put that work in, you're going to get back what you earn, And I just think for him, just that junior year coming out with that, what he came out with, that mentality, the willingness to learn and to get on that field, and then actually just to show. I didn't even think that year he played offense and defense a little bit, but just working like that. So I think that's one thing.
How important was track to you now that you're seeing success in that? You're going to a college where anything can happen. I mean, look at Lloyd at Nebraska. There's a couple of them that are proven, as long as they're not in season together, opportunities are there. What success and fun are you having with track, and how important do you think that is just in your mental development of who you are?
So there was some things that occurred. My brother had passed away in November, and after that kind of happened, like, he was my mentor for sure. Like, I went to that dude for everything. Like, my guy, my golden for sure, like my ace. And so losing him, it was kind of like, what do I do now? And even with the football thing, I committed to Northern State on the 15th. My brother had passed away on the 20th, and I had held my commitment until like the 27th or something like that. And I would kind of like, even with my commitment, I was like, why? Like, this is tough. You know what I'm saying? I just lost my mentor for college. He already been through this process. So I was like, what I'm saying? I got him. And so losing him, I was kind of like, well, do I really even want to play football anymore? And then Miss Hamilton, the head track coach at Bellevue West, she was asking me to throw shot put for her because she had no shot putters. And I was like, well, I don't really know if I want to play sports right now. She was like, well, I think you should try it. And then so she just kept getting on me, kept asking me, and I was like, you know what? Like, yes, I'm upset about my brother, but what would my brother want me to do if he was here right now? He would tell me to go purchase some track shoes and go get in the ring. So I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Why not? And then so I started off throwing, and I was like, I set like a crazy high standard for myself. I was like, if I don't throw 42 at my first ever throw, I'm not throwing. I threw like a 35. And then at the first meet, I threw like a 37 or 36 or something like that. And I was like, this isn't for me. And I just kept working. And then one day at practice, I popped off like a 49, 50-foot throw. And my coach was like, wow. Like he was just in awe. And then ever since then, I've PR'd at every meet this year. And I plan to PR tomorrow and get ready for districts and state. And then hopefully I'll talk to my coaches, ask them about the track thing, and hopefully receive some more money out of a track scholarship.
Man, it's a lot to unrail there. When you think of, like, I had them try in junior high just track or cross country, something to mentally challenge themselves to be different, because they've been playing team sports since the beginning. What does it mean to see him have success as Jeffrey? Not the T-Birds, not everybody around him. Don't get me wrong, they help him, but it's Jeffrey doing the work. Jeffrey's getting the results in a solo sport like track.
You watched it, you watch somebody work and you watch them put their effort into it and everything they got, and they're fully committed. You want to see them win. You want to see their results. Those are the things that leave testimony. You know what I mean? Now I can tell somebody, hey, I wasn't even doing track, and then my first one, I did this, and most people would have walked away. Did you see his response? Just how humble he is about it. He's able to laugh about it, because it's like I go back and I do that, and now I work on it, and now not even am I down that low. I'm up high. I'm at 49.50, and I'm throwing this thing now. So just watching that and just him having that testimony and being able to show to other people, I think that's.
What is Jeffrey Kunzman going to be remembered for at Bellevue West?
A dog. You know what I'm saying? Like just a dog. I'm gonna do anything you tell me, and anything you tell me to do is gonna be done at 115 miles per hour. Like nothing less. You tell me to go, like he said, you tell me to go kick the football, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna practice after every day after practice, I'm gonna kick 100 field goals. I'm gonna kick the ball 160 times. So like I think Coach P's gonna remember me as like, Coach P made a big impact on me, and I really like he made a big impact on me, and Huff made a big impact on me. But I think I left him with some type of impact, because even at our banquet, Huffman was like, first thing he opened up with, he was like, Northern State commit, man, I can't believe it. He was like, from where you started to where you're at now, it's just unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? And I think I'll just forever be remembered by them too for working hard and not complaining. I just worked hard, didn't complain, just kept going. No matter how hard it got, just kept going. Just head down, keep working.
When you think of where you and your wife saw him going and growing, where did you think it was going to end? Right. Obviously, you letting him do it, but where did you guys think it was going to end? Did you think it was going to go this route? Is there some surprises that even he pulled out that you didn't know he could?
Everything gonna be a surprise for you, especially the first time you see it, but once you see it and you see it and you see it, it's like, this is what you want for them. And if it's what they want, you're going to push that, and that's what you see for them, and this is what you get.
School-wise, obviously you came up with some beast. You brought it out. You said it. What makes the decision between those two schools, and why can one not get over the hump for the other?
You're talking about the Bellevue?
The Bellevue. What do you think it is?
So crazy story. It actually wasn't even between the two Bellevue schools. It was actually it was Gross.
No, I think he's talking about like.
Well, no, but it's. I like where he's going with it too. I'll take it.
So some of the choices were. So the three choices were Omaha North, and that was going to be the basketball route because the original group going there was Dale, Caleb Benning, James, Minor, DeAndre Harper, Kayvon Newsom. Like there was a squad going there, and I every dude I just named, I was playing AAU with them on NRE. So I was like, so that was an option, and then Gross was the other option because my friend Weston Miller went there. And he was trying to recruit me to Gross, and I was going to do it because I always wanted to go to a private school because, like, school academics was my thing coming into high school. Not so much anymore, but coming in it was. And then Bellevue West, obviously, because my brother had just won a state championship at that school. So that was obviously the big Mount Rushmore school. And then COVID had happened, and I was like, Bellevue West.
So the whole team at Omaha North was about to just dunk on everybody
Yeah,
and lay loose.
No, North had a roster coming in. They had a roster. I don't
And
know
then
what happened, but
everybody
they had a
went their
roster.
own separate way because
Yeah.
of COVID. That's just crazy to think. The talk is always there. What do you think the issues is between the two schools and why one can't get over the hump?
And I'll be very honest and transparent about it. Kids don't want to compete. Nobody wants to take the stairs. Everybody want to jump on the elevator. And I know if I was a kid and I was 6th, 7th manning on the basketball team, and that school needs that help, unfortunately, I'm going over there. We're going to go 4-13, and I'm about to average 15, 16 points because the ultimate goal that you said when you was a kid, you want to go to the NBA. You didn't say
how.
You didn't say how. You didn't say you had to be on a winning championship team in high school. It had to be the MVP and be all state and all metro. You didn't say that. You just said you wanted to do that. And being 6th, 7th man and 8th man, like, I know there's teams in the metro where there's guys riding the bench, never getting in the game, who I personally know would start for multiple schools. But they don't. They just sit back and they sit behind other people. And I always encourage kids, like, do what's best for you, not what's best for your coolness. You know what I mean? And
you ain't going to remember the championship.
Nobody
don't
will.
get me wrong. You'll remember back-to-back championships.
You remember it.
But it won't define who you are if you're the bench of those back-to-back championships.
And not saying anything's wrong with that, because if that's the path you want to take, then that's fine. But I'm just saying, this as a competitor, I think that's the biggest problem is that nobody wants to compete and actually build anything. They want to jump on the best thing that's going, and just make the transfers. And like I said, it's not these high school kids, and it doesn't start with them. It starts with the college game, and it starts with parents.
Yeah.
Sure. So,
man. All right. So when we look at your high school career, it's almost coming to an end. Is there anything that that you have done that you really put yourself forth to do, that you really were looking forward to doing this past 4 years? Because they go quick.
Yeah, no, they go quick. And I think I've earned everything I worked for. Everything I've worked for, it's come to me. You know what I'm saying? I've always wanted to play. I've always wanted to get money to go play football at the next level. And I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? And like, after the recruitment process is over and you're committed and everything's settled and everything's set in play to move forward, you kind of just look back and you're like, I did this. Like, it was, yes, there was people who helped along the way, but at the end of the day, I fought through all the trials and tribulations, and I'm the reason that I'm here.
You walk across the stage here in just over a month. What does that mean to you? And what is your next step right away? Do you go right to going to prepare for college, or is it something where over the summer you have to build yourself up?
The graduation thing it's gonna be an emotional day for me. It's gonna be tough not having my brother sitting there watching me walk across the stage, for sure. But it's gonna be a good day. It's the final step. It's the over the hedge. You did it. You're completely done with. You're an adult now. There's no more. Oh, you're in trouble. Go to the dean's office. Oh, you're in trouble. You're suspended. Oh, you're in trouble. You have lunch detention. Oh, you're in trouble. Your court date's on March 28th. See you then. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's more. It's now you have to mature. You're an adult now. No one cares that you're not a cute little kid anymore. You're not just a kid in Bellevue, Nebraska who attends Bellevue West. You're an adult, and you live in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and you just got pulled over. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's time to mature. And so yeah, I think that's what that graduation's like. And then the football thing, I'm gonna try to go down to Aberdeen a little bit early. Coach Roy told me to enjoy my summer because it's the last one I'm gonna have for a minute. So that kind of scared me a little bit. But so I think I'm gonna go up there a little bit early though, because I for sure want to see the field this year at Northern State.
Man, you have really laid it out there, and I hope one student, one athlete, one parent can just get a little bit of just some want to from these interviews to understand that your kid, no matter where they're at in their process, the steps are just different. But if their end goal is their end goal, this group right here can help you as a parent, of a coach, father side of it. And then as the player, the athlete, the student, Remember, first and foremost, you can always like, subscribe, share anything you want with Wired Access Podcast. We appreciate you. And also make sure go check out Omaha Supernovas. We'll talk to you next show. See ya.